This video is for you if you want to grow your reach, your audience, your following, and your personal brand on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. But if you're like me, you have troubles doing so because perhaps you feel overwhelmed not knowing where and how to start. Perhaps you lack time to be consistently, frequently filming videos. Perhaps you don't like to be in front of the camera. Perhaps you lack consistency to be doing this consistently over a longer period of time. So whatever is somehow holding you down or slowing you down, this video, I believe, will help you tremendously, because what I'm about to share right now has helped me tremendously, not just getting started and get started, but also create amazing progress and momentum, where today I feel really excited every single day and every week to be working on scaling my content and scaling and building my personal brand. Now, if this is the first time seeing my face and hearing my weird, funny European accent, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Klemen. I am former Chief Marketing Officer of Mindvalley and Head of Growth of Mindvalley, which you might know as a fascinating, one of the most fascinating organizations on the planet, if you ask me. And today Mindvalley is very likely $1 billion brand already, and I helped Mindvalley grow as a Chief Marketing Officer and Head of Growth from roughly 20 million in annual revenue to $100 million in annual revenue and more. And I helped Mindvalley, and I was one of the key leaders. Actually, I was obviously not the only person that helped Mindvalley, obviously, but I was one of the key leaders on that journey. Now you'll see why I'm sharing this with you is social media was really never my expertise. So I'm not an expert in social media. I'm not an expert on YouTube growth. I'm not an expert on Instagram growth. My expertise primarily comes from paid advertising, funnels, email marketing, leadership, delegation, automation, tech, and AI. But social media, I mean, I kind of understand the whole thing, but I never really went deep into social media. And a simple proof and a funny proof of that is that for 10 years, I've been neglecting my own social media profiles. And only recently, I made a conscious decision that I'll start working not only on my social media profiles, but also building and scaling my own personal brand on YouTube and Instagram and also TikTok and other video platforms, right? And in roughly early September 2024, I started. And just like many people, I felt freaking overwhelmed by all my universe. Where do I start? How do I start? All these things. And then I went super, super deep into a lot of videos on YouTube, books, like courses on everything related to YouTube growth, Instagram growth. And this is what helped me the most, not just get started, but create amazing momentum. And I want to share this with you, okay? Some of the principles that I really believe will help you as well when you embody them. Now, if you already are at millions of subscribers, this video might not be for you. But if you are perhaps struggling a little bit, you haven't found your flow, your system, or perhaps your Instagram or YouTube or your social media profiles are not growing and expanding, this video will really help you out, okay? So let me go to my Evernote. So the first thing, and you will see I have some notes here prepared. So the first thing that you want to embody is this concept of SSSS, right? Which simply means start small, slow, and simple. One of the simplest and most efficient and effective ways to overcome overwhelm is to just start simple with baby steps. Julius Caesar conquered the whole Gaul and half of the known world at that time by using this strategy called divide and conquer, right? So this is a little bit different, but still very similar concepts. Just start small, slow, and simple. What does it mean, right? And I'll explain in a visual view what actually means starting small, slow, and simple. The emphasis here, just start, okay? That's an important word, probably the most important, but you start small, slow, and simple with baby steps, okay? Then, instead of obsessing over perfection, which is what most people do, including myself to some degree, you get positively obsessed with incremental progress, okay? I'm a big fan and believer that progress beats perfection all the time. I would say incremental, continuous progress beats perfection, because if you are able to create incremental, continuous progress over a longer period of time, you've heard this gazillions of times for various sources, this is actually how you create compounded, almost exponential growth and progress and breakthroughs, is with continuous incremental progress. So this is something that you want to embody and kind of follow alongside with start small, slow, and simple. Then how I approach the whole thing is of working on my social media profiles and creating content. I approach everything just like nature works. Nature works in cycles. If you think stars in our known universe, even the galaxy, everything just spins around in some kind of a cycles. The seasons come and go in cycles. The day and night come and go in cycles. The weeks, the months. I mean, even watering system of entire planet Earth works in cycles. Even planet itself, Earth, our beautiful planet, spins in cycles. Atoms spin in cycles. So everything is just a repeating cycle of everything. We can even go into that life, past lives, and all this works in cycles. Let's not go too much into the woo-woo mystical spiritual things, okay? But in short, weekly cycles, okay? And you will see how this all connects when I start drawing things out here on this chart here. Now, this is actually nothing new. Tech companies actually build their products, develop their products. They work in cycles that they typically call sprints. And their cycles might actually be 14-day sprints, sometimes 1 month sprint, but typically you want to work in cycles where every cycle you aim to get a little bit better. Now, a 1 day is not the best cycle. Now, some people will say, yeah, get better every day. Absolutely. But when it comes to creating content, you will see, I think the most optimal cycle is a week. you might actually have a bi-weekly, but I think week is perfect because it's not too short and it's also not too long. It's just the most ideal. And the fourth principle is this one I learned from, in fact, I learned from Alex Hormosia, and he inspired me actually how important this is that this thing, prioritize and be positively obsessed activities over goals. Let me explain. So losers, basically, or people who never really achieve any real breakthroughs in progress and actually focus too much on their goals, like just the goals. I want to have 1 million subscribers. That's okay. It's good to know where you want to go, right? But winners don't do that. People who create the biggest progress and breakthroughs and achieve some level of success, they are positively obsessed, not with goals, but with activities that lead to goals, right? So every time you want to achieve something, I don't know, you want to build a fit, muscular, fit body, that's, I don't know, and reach certain weight, that's a goal. But then you just ask yourself, which activities lead to that goal? And this will typically go to 1 or 2 key activities. Let's say eat healthier and work out more often. That's it, right? So activities are almost like inputs that lead to certain outputs, which are in this case goals, right? So in the case of social media content and scaling your social media, the most important activity, if you ask me, at least how I'm prioritizing it, the most important activity is post new content frequently and consistently. That's it. The more content I post and the more I follow this process, the better I will get, the better the quality of everything that I do, from titles to content to thumbnails to tags to descriptions, everything. Just focus on posting content. Another expert on YouTube that I consulted with, when I told him what my priority is, just start simple, start posting content, and he said, yes, absolutely, just get the reps in. So you want to just start getting repetitions in and then get better every single cycle. Now, another fifth one, a bonus principle, is ideally, this is how I approach working on everything. Ideally, if you can, you want to tap into this power of something called the group effect. This is nothing new, but this is the same effect why some people, when they prepare for marathons, they will typically prepare with other people. So it's much easier to have a group of people who work towards a shared goal, focus on same activities, and it just fuels you with more empowerment and motivation, right? So ideally, always seek perhaps groups or tribes of people who have similar goals and are working on similar activities so that you can cross-share your learnings, insights, support each other, and so forth, right? Human beings are by nature social beings, and it's always good to have support and being in the same group or like in a network of people who are working towards a shared goal and focusing on same activities, okay? So these are 5 principles. So yeah, start small, simple, and slow. Incremental progress over perfection, weekly cycles and activities over goals, and ideally use a group effect, okay? Now, let's bring now this into a chart, how I approach the whole thing, okay? So here on the x-axis, this is time. These are weeks, okay? So again, forgive me for my lack of my artistic aesthetics here, but I think this nicely illustrates. So these are weeks here. So we have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6, week 7, and so forth. And y-axis represents, let's say I will put here both the quantity of videos that I post. Notice, not subscribers, not followers, not accounts reached, but something that measures how well I'm doing my activity. And my number 1 activity, just post original new content. So this chart here is measured, this y-axis is simply measuring the amount of videos that I publish. And you can also put another dimension, the quality of the stuff that I do, from thumbnails to titles, to preparing, to outlines, to descriptions, to tags, to research and everything else. So not just the sheer amount of videos, but also how well I'm doing it, okay? Now, you want to start, for example, this is prime example, start small, slow, and simple. In week 1, let's say for YouTube, you start, or for any platform, you might actually adapt your own workflow, but that's the whole idea, right? The concept is in week 1, for example, you publish one video, that's it, okay? One video. And then in week 2, okay, now let's say you publish 2 videos, okay? You publish 2 videos. And then in week 3, you stay at 2 videos, okay? 2 videos still, but you're having now consistency. Now, 3 weeks in a row, you publish something, right? Congrats, amazing progress. That's how big things are actually built. You start small, simple, you aim for incremental progress, and you focus on activities that really matter, right? And then perhaps in week 4, you might say, okay, now let's expand. Let's post 3 new videos this particular week. And by the way, this number here does not count accumulated total number of videos published. It simply means number of new videos published in that given week. So in week 1, for example, you publish 1 new video. Then in week 2, you publish 2 new videos. So by this time, you have now 3 videos, right? Then in week 4, you publish also 2 new videos. So by the time you reach here, you have 2 plus 2 plus 1. You have 5 videos already published, right? And that's how you go, right? So this is the number of videos, and so forth. And you can adapt your own rhythm, but the idea, again, start small, slow, simple, incremental progress in the quantity and quality, okay? So these dots here measure the amount, the number of videos or content pieces that you publish, okay? Now, some people, for example, on YouTube, I started with 1 a week for 3 weeks, and then I went to 2 for 2 a week for 1 whole month, and I'm still staying at least 2 a week. That's something that I'm aiming for right now. And then somewhere in the future, I might actually expand and actually 3 videos every single week and so forth, right? So these dots measure the quantity, the number of content items or pieces published, unique pieces. So for example, if I do one short form video and I publish it on 3 platforms, that will still count as 1 video, okay? Not as 3, even though it's distributed across different platforms. So that's the first aspect of incremental progress, okay? The number of videos. And then the second very important aspect of just scaling your content is the quality aspect. And this is what illustrates these blue lines here, right? So at the beginning, you see the thickness of this blue line almost represents the quality of the stuff that you do, how well you do it, right? So on the beginning, you see it's a very, very skinny line, very simple, no fancy, for example, for YouTube, no fancy thumbnails, not spending too much time on a title, like, 15 minutes or 20 minutes finding the perfect title, not spending too much time on writing the perfect description and doing the research for tags. You start as simple as possible, just get that damn video published, right? That's good enough. Then in next cycle, perhaps, okay, you say, okay, now I'll get a little bit better at thumbnails. Let's say on YouTube, titles and thumbnails are the most important part, and you might just prioritize that. Okay, now I want to focus a bit more attention and energy on fine-tuning my thumbnails, right? And then you continue, just focus on thumbnails, and then somewhere from week 3 onwards, you say, okay, now I want to focus a little bit more attention into crafting and writing really great titles also, right? So on YouTube, titles and thumbnails are one of the most important things that actually drive clicks and get people to watch, right? And then moving forward, you might say, okay, the next thing that I want to start improving is just my first 5 or 10 seconds of the video, right? This is also the most important part of the video, the hook part, right? And so forth, right? So to zoom out, here we have it in a graphical way, how you can get started, not just with content, but anything else in life, building any other habit, by the way. A lot of these learnings also come from an amazing book called Atomic Habits. I highly recommend it. And here you go. So basically, start small, slow, and simple. Aim for incremental, continuous progress, and don't obsess over perfection and perfectionism. Then work in some kind of weekly cycles and focus on activities that lead to goals, not the goals themselves. Obviously, you still want to know where you want to go and have certain aspirations and milestones, perhaps first 100 subscribers, first 1,000, and so forth. But you get obsessed with fine-tuning activities that lead to those goals. And these 2 activities in the context of social media is post more content and do it better. So quantity and quality. Hopefully this inspires you to take action. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being here. And there's more amazing videos here on this channel. I look forward to seeing you in other videos. May the force be with you. All the best.